Hey guys, Vicky Lemons here and welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I am so glad to have you here. So in this video, we are going to talk about who I would not take marital advice from as somebody who's been married for almost 25 years. Let's get into it. People I would not take marital advice from, being married so long myself, almost 25 years. Anyone that doesn't see God as the center of their union. Forget the religious aspect. Whatever your God is, anyone that doesn't see God as the center of their union, that is not somebody that I would take marital advice from. He is the creator of our union. He created us. He formed us together. And with his word and his spirit, that is something that is important to us in our marriage. And so I personally would not take marital advice from anyone that doesn't see God as the center of their union. A lot of decisions get made in marriage, and sometimes we don't know what decisions to make. And that knowing that God is in us and is the creator of our union allows us to walk in a way that I feel brings more clarity, more understanding, more patience, more love. And so if those things aren't poured into our marriage or into someone's marriage trying to give me advice, I will not take that advice. So also, when people say marriage is a piece of paper, let's just address that elephant in the room, because I understand marriage being a piece of paper for some people, but for me, it's not, because marriage was made to me under the eyes of God. And so when you pick your partner knowing that God created this union. And if you think marriage is only a piece of paper, then you don't really see that union as high as it really should be. So I don't want your marital advice either. I also did a video that talks about marriage being a piece of paper, so you can go ahead and watch that video if you like. Number 2, someone I would not take marital advice from as somebody who's been married for almost 25 years is someone who hasn't been married very long. You have to be married at least 20 years for me to even consider what you're talking about. And it's not necessarily the length of time, even though in this specific topic we're talking about the length, because I do know some people who have been married for 40 years. They don't communicate effectively. They don't live their marriage as a marriage that I would want to get insight or advice from. So it's not always about the number of length, but I know I don't want marital advice from somebody that's been married 12 years, 13 years, because here's why. I've already done those years. And when people have been married a long time and they choose to grow with their partner, there's so much that goes into that. And I want the advice from people who have went through that, gotten through it, and are on the better part of the journey. Because that's what happens in marriage. It's a cycle. So I don't want the people who haven't been able to really experience the journey of marriage giving me advice on my marriage. This is just what I choose to do. This is who I choose to not get my advice from. Ideally, the person would be married at least 20 years and live happily with each other, happily married. Number 3, I personally would not take marital advice as somebody who has been married for almost 25 years from anyone that has suffered infidelity in their marriage. Look, my number 1 rule in marriage is your marriage, your rules. This is no shade to people who stay with their partner after infidelity. No shade at all. It is a boundary breaker. It is a deal breaker in our marriage, but no shade to anyone that deals with this. I don't want the advice of people who kind of cater around infidelity, who accept it, who don't see that it was more than a choice to sleep with someone. It was a complete disrespect to the union. It was a complete disrespect under God's eyes. It was a complete disrespect to what you guys are forming. It was a complete disrespect to your body. And it was a complete disrespect to my body. So if you've dealt with that and you're still dealing with that, there's no way you've gotten over it. There's no way you've completely forgave the person. There's going to be trust issues always. There's always going to be something in the back of your mind thinking about your spouse. And I don't want advice from people who think like that. I want advice from people who think all men don't cheat. All women don't cheat. Some marriages last extremely long. Some marriages last not only extremely long, but with no infidelity ever. I want to be around people that give advice from that space, not from the space of, well, he only did it once, or she said she won't do it again, and now we just check each other's phones and everything. I don't want that. I don't want that, so I'm not even going to entertain that. My marriage, my rules, right? So I would not accept advice, marital advice, from anyone that has been cheated on, been a cheater in their relationship. You can't offer me anything, but you can probably offer other people who have been through that some of your advice. But for me and my home, I don't need anyone to have advice. I don't need advice coming from someone who couldn't control themselves. Simple as that. And last but not least, I mean, I could give you a few more, but I'm going to stop in this video with this last one. I don't want marital advice as somebody who's been married for almost 25 years from someone who doesn't like their partner. You have to adore your partner. You have to really enjoy being around your partner in order for me to see that you guys would be worth me even spending the time, me and my husband, spending the time with you to get to know you in a way that we can bounce, relationship stuff off of each other. I don't want marital advice from anyone who says, oh, I can't stand my wife. I can't stand on a regular basis and talks negative about marriage. Oh, the old ball and chain. And I don't want to be around anyone like that. I don't want advice from you. I don't want my husband to get advice from you. I don't want your tainting thoughts in our relationship. And that's what you have to do. It's a union, right? It's a covenant. And you have to protect it. You have to protect your marriage as you would your child. It is your thing. It's your blessing for you and your partner. Just like as your kids are a blessing to you as your mother and a father, your union as a husband and wife, you have to protect it. And you have to keep certain things and people out of it. Otherwise, it looks too easy, too normal. And then this little thing becomes more and then more and then more. And then where you wouldn't even allow this, now you're allowing all this other stuff. You have to kind of keep the blinders on and stay focused on what it is that you really want out of your marriage and who are the people that you're going to surround yourself with to make that happen. And sometimes it's just you and your partner. Sometimes you won't get to experience other couples that really have healthy marriages. And as somebody who's been married a very long time and also has been a military spouse for a very long time, I came across so many different types of married couples. And to be quite honest, out of all the ones that I've come across, maybe 5 or 6 are still together. And that's why I say, and then out of that 5 or 6, who knows whether they like each other? Who knows whether God is at the top of their union? Who knows what their things are? So that weeds them out right there, right? And look, if you take offense to the fact of weeding people out for how they can serve you in your life, then you on the wrong page, because we should always have people in our life that pour into us, because we know that, I know that the more I'm poured into, the more I can pour out. So why would I want to bring anyone in me that's always just taking? I don't want to bring people with me that's always just taking. I want to bring people with me that always pour in, that also pour in. So I know this is going to stir up a little controversy, but my marriage, my rules, I can choose to do what I want to do with my marriage as well as my husband. And these are just some things to think about. Right? What do you think? Put them in the comments. Thank you for watching. And as always, God bless.